Appreciate that, and I really appreciate some of those tips. Let's talk about car and driving costs. They can add up. Certainly, everyone's taking summer vacations, perhaps many of them going on the roadway and instead of hitting the skies. How do we cut down on some of those expenses when it comes to driving in cars?
On a day-to-day basis, car travel is all about, in terms of cost, gas. So you want two strategies. One is get the best price for the gas that you're buying, and two, increase your car's fuel efficiency. So in terms of getting the best price, if you're a member of a warehouse club, by all means, get their gas. Studies show that you get as much as 25 cents less per gallon. That's real savings. If you don't belong to such a place, but are loyal to a particular gas station, yes, get their credit card or join their fuel rewards program, 5 or 10 cents a gallon over time. Again, that adds up. If you don't want to do that, next, get a credit card, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, that has cash back with a particularly preference towards gas purchases. You can get a credit card that will automatically rebate you 3% of the cost of gas. Again, over time, it adds up. Absent all those things, pay cash, because that nickel differential between the credit card price and the cash price, that too adds up. Let's talk fuel efficiency. Fascinating new study shows that junk in your trunk every 100 pounds lowers your car's fuel efficiency by at least 2%. Similarly, tires that are overinflated or underinflated, 2 to 3% decrease in fuel efficiency. But most of all, it's how you drive. If you are going 80 miles per hour, you are being 27% less efficient in your gas usage than if you're going 60 miles per hour. We know who you are. You love to go fast. But overall, even if you build in the differential for being on the road longer, you will be wasting 27% more of your gas by going too fast. So slow down, mellow out, and add that in with all these other things you do. You can really increase your car's fuel efficiency.
Another great option, different set of ideas. I love it. Summer, of course, we've been talking about a great idea for so many families out there to maybe find some last-minute deals, take the family on a vacation. What advice do you have for some of those last-minute deals, Neil?
So we found a study that showed that the sweet spot for booking airfares is 28 to 35 days away from the departure date. If you book in that window, you will save 10% or more compared to booking much closer to the departure date. Likewise, a separate study showed that Sunday currently is the best day to book compared to, say, a Friday. In this study, it showed 5 to 15% cheaper prices if you book on a Sunday. So those are some of the techniques for getting better airfares. We found an interesting one about hotels, that independently owned and operated hotels are much more willing to negotiate on price than, say, a big chain, which really you can't negotiate. But we also found that the best way to negotiate is by sending an email to the manager. Send a note saying, we're coming to town and bringing my family. We so much look forward to staying with you, but we need to be frugal. How can you help us out? What's the best deal you can offer us? An email like that will often get you a really nice savings that isn't going to be found searching online.
You know, Neil, I think our viewers are going to be rewinding this with a pad and paper and just kind of taking down these notes. These are fantastic. I love it. I know that you've edited several editions of AARP's 99 Great Ways to Save. How do you find these new ways to save? I'm curious.
Well, there's a yin-yang, two sides to this. One is that there's always new stores. There's always older stores adding new programs. There's always new apps. There's always new tools that are trying to search for the best price. So there's a whole world of dynamic new tools available for getting the best price. At the same time, everyday frugality really does matter. And I give the example of a mixture of equal parts water and vinegar is the best window and glass cleaner you're going to find. And for 25 cents, you could whip up a big batch Why pay $6 for a window cleaner at the store when you can make it at home? That kind of everyday frugality mixed in with being mindful to all the new things that are happening out there, put those together and you really can save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars routinely over 6 months, over a year's time.
Neil Wertheimer, deputy editor of AARP Bulletin and AARP The Magazine. Really appreciate all the stuff that you brought this morning. This is going to help so many viewers, thousands of them, tune in each and every morning. Thanks so much for coming on the Digital Desk. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's
There is a new survey out there that challenges and highlights the challenges that caregivers face. I want to bring in now to the Action News 5 digital desk a family therapist, a former caregiver, to really share some insight on ways to navigate these unseen struggles that happen so often. I'm joined now by Dr. Merle Griff. She is a family therapist, a former caregiver herself. Dr. Griff, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the digital desk. Can you talk a little bit more about this survey and some of the biggest challenges that you see family caregivers face? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. The OSCA survey on family caregivers showed that family caregivers are often very stressed. They're feeling very overburdened. They're often exhausted. But I think more importantly, the findings from the survey show that very often they have a financial impact. It impacts their jobs, their careers. They often have to cut back their hours. I've worked with families where the family caregivers actually had to stop working. And this has a very, very definite financial impact, with about 72% of family caregivers having to dip into the retirement funds or the personal savings. Very often, a large majority of them don't have the money to spend on necessities. And by necessities, we mean food and their own prescription medications.
Yeah, I'm a former caregiver myself. So is my wife. We lived with my father-in-law the last 5 years of his life. My father lives in a different state, but he has Alzheimer's, and so he has caregivers as well. What is the best advice you can give to caregivers out there? Because as you mentioned, they feel so alone and they feel so stressed out and so anxious.
Well, thank you very much for caring for your family. It is very hard, and so thank you for doing that. I think that OSCA surveys clearly showed that family members want help, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And they look to help from other family members. And that can be in various ways. It could be actually going to the house to stay with someone for a period of time, to helping out with insurance papers or dealing with finances. It also means just maybe sending a meal, twice a month, or, sending a small gift of candy or TV. I'm sorry, but watching TV with someone. But the most important thing for family caregivers is they really have to refuel. You can't run on empty. And when you're not taking care of someone, when you are taking care of someone, then you really have to take care of yourself.
No question about it. So really quickly, I know we only have a few seconds left. Is there a place online where we can get information for people out there that are perhaps struggling or about to go through this process?
Yes, absolutely. I would highly recommend you go to otska-us.com. Lots of resources there for you.
Okay, Dr. Merle Griff, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing some insights and some expert advice. We appreciate it.
Thanks for engaging with us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The bottom line over the next couple of days, everyone deals with spring-like warmth, even though that as we head into your Saturday, temperatures will actually feel a little bit more like February across the area, back to near normal, but that will be short-lived. The vast majority of your 7-day forecast will be above average. Everyone gets gusty breezes, including today, but we'll see off and on the winds picking up again. Today out of the north and west as we get towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, winds coming out of the south, helping to import moisture in the warmer air. And some of us could have to tangle with a strong or severe thunderstorm by late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, though, let's enjoy some great weather here today. Temperatures starting off 40s and 50s, a little bit of patchy fog, though. Sunshine winds out with temperatures towards the middle 60s before it's all said and done. Again, more akin to what we would normally see for the first couple of days of spring. Tomorrow will feel a bit more like where we should be for this time of the year with temperatures in the 50s. Here's a look at our first alert futurecast. Again, we've had some patchy areas of fog developing this morning. That will all lift and sunshine winds out with temperatures that will top out generally in the 60s this afternoon with that northwesterly breeze helping to funnel in some of that cooler air. It's a little weak disturbance that will move across portions of middle and east Tennessee late tonight into tomorrow. It's going to nudge the numbers down a couple of notches. You see up in some of the higher terrain along the Cumberland Plateau, a couple of snowflakes can't be ruled out, but nothing to worry about in our neck of the woods. Obviously, with temperatures, they'll be running in the 50s, close to 60 degrees. We go into the start of your Sunday with a couple of passing clouds. I think in general, a mixture of clouds and sunshine with temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s coming up on your day Sunday. And we start the process of staying plenty warm heading into early portions of next week. It sets the stage for the big, broad storm system. Keep in mind, you can't have temperatures that are running 10 to 15, 20 degrees above average for this time of the year without something to give. And it's, of course, the atmosphere is nothing but give and take. So it's giving us the warmer temperatures. It's about to take it back as we head towards the middle portion of next week by way of a storm system that will come out of the plain states, of course, bringing us chances for rain and storms. And not only storms, but maybe the risk for an isolated strong or severe thunderstorm to come along with it late Tuesday heading into Wednesday. You know, if you're looking on social media, if you're doom scrolling on social media, you might find a couple of things that are comparing this system to a larger severe weather outbreak. We just don't know at this point, okay? There are ingredients that would lend itself to severe weather. Don't get me wrong there. There are also ingredients that work against severe weather, which will hopefully manifest itself into mitigating a severe weather threat across the board. But to say it now, it's a little early. We know that the pattern lends itself to the potential for severe weather, but you can have all the ingredients in the world, okay? You can put that into a mixing bowl. Try to mix all those ingredients together. But if you are trying to make a cake and you haven't turned on the oven, it's just not going to work, right? You're not going to end up with the cake, right? So you just have a bowl of ingredients. Let's hope that that's how it plays out. But again, could we have some of those ingredients get into that oven that we finally have preheated and things have started to warm up? Yeah, it's a possibility. So at this point, nothing that you need to be worried about, but something that you should keep in the back of your mind is a possibility as that line of showers and thunderstorms come sweeping through the area. Now, behind that system, we look to turn cooler. The question mark here is that as we turn cooler in the wake of this front, Is the front going to be progressive, meaning it goes from west to east and moves off the coastline, it's out of here? Or does it hang up down the Gulf of Mexico? Remember, we got a pretty decent upper ridge that is trying to develop here that is going to have a hard time of breaking down, even with the cold front moving through the area. So that could have its own implications, because if the ridge holds firm, it's going to back that front back northward and bring us another wave of rain possibly through towards the end of next week. To be seen about that. I think that that's going to be something that we kind of will be changeable in the forecast, variable in the forecast as we head towards the back end of that 7-day and into the 10-day forecast. In the meantime, I can tell you with a surety that we're going to have a fantastic weekend across the area with temperatures that will top out today in the 60s, breezy, cooler breezes that will usher in temperatures down into the upper 50s to near 60 by Saturday, mostly sunny. A mixture of clouds and sun as the winds begin to pick up now out of the south and west. That's going to help to usher in warmer air, lower to middle 70s expected, with a chance for a few showers late in the day on Tuesday, and then leading Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when we have that risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. Again, possibility, not a certainty. And then the question mark is, how quickly does that move out of here? Will we have to tangle with it into Thursday with the resurgence of moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico? It does look cooler, don't get me wrong. And then beyond that, in the 10-day forecast, we do trend warmer again heading into the first portion of the month of March. But to be seen how that risk for rain and storms and the severe weather risk that does come along with it, how it will play out. Of course, we'll keep you updated over the next couple of days here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well as actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app.
All right, right now you're taking a live look at the University of Memphis on a very nice day today. We're seeing a lot of sunshine. That's exactly what we want to see, especially on the weekend. It's Friday and we are here at the Action News 5 digital desk. This next interview is right on time for Black History Month. We're talking about booming careers. A lot of time when I'm out in the Memphis area, I see people, business owners, struggling to keep staff, struggling to keep people hired on their team. So this interview is the exact opposite. Today we're talking about the top 5 booming professionals for booming careers for Black professionals. So joining me this morning to speak about this interview is someone who I don't think is here with us, so we may have to return to this interview. So we're going to, and Andrew Douglas is here helping me with this. Yeah. We're going to return to this hopefully soon, but right now we're going to take another interview talking about the importance of kidney health.
Well, did you know that more than 37 million Americans and 850 million people worldwide suffer from chronic kidney conditions that can impact virtually every aspect of their lives, as well as their families and communities? Well, joining us now to talk more about the importance of...
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. We often associate acne breakouts with our teen years, but for so many Americans out there, breakouts aren't just a distant memory. In fact, acne is the most prevalent skin disease right now, affecting up to 80% of people at some point during their lives. Let's talk about acne, some of the causes, and what we can do to help ourselves with the one and only Dr. Pimple Popper. Dr. Sandra Lee, dermatologist, is with us here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Dr. Lee, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
We are doing well, thank you very much. So, so tell us, what is the cause of acne primarily?
Well, acne is caused by oily skin or sebum that builds up in our pores. And sebum is really largely controlled by hormones. So really, that's really what causes everything. You know, hormones are also called androgens. These increase and decrease throughout our lifetime, so they fluctuate. And so when they are higher, like during teenage years, that's when you have more acne breakouts. And so actually, though, throughout your life, it can really fluctuate and go up and down so that, you can get them when you're 50. You can even get acne when you're in your 50s and your 60s. So it doesn't really matter your age or your gender. Hormones.
So tell me about the AHA Acne Hormones campaign that you are a part of. I guess it spotlights the role of hormones as the underlying cause of acne. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for people to understand why we get acne breakouts. And that's really a key to treating, because I think people feel really helpless when they have a breakout and they don't know how to treat it. And then you get some kind of, treatment regimen from your doctor and you're like, well, I don't even know what this does. I don't know, what it's doing. I don't know if it's going to work or not. But if people understand that it's caused by hormones specifically, and that a certain medication is going to specifically help to treat those or lower those hormones in your skin, then I think people are going to be more willing to use it, and they're going to actually also feel really like a part of the treatment, right? They're going to feel like they have control over their own skin.
Dr. Lee, you have this show on TLC, and it's a hit show. So many people watch it, but it's interesting. I know in our viewers, and you might find this yourself, that people are in either one of two camps. They either love the show or they can't stand it because they can't stand watching the video. Tell me about your success and what the show's like.
Well, I think it became successful because either people hate it or they love it, but either way, they're talking about it, right? So that's really what really drove the interest or, the popularity of the show. And I really think what's great about it is even if you have to look away at certain parts, there's such a wonderful story there. You really meet people that you kind of connect with because you see how we can change their lives in very positive ways. And so it's a really great feel-good story. It just really kind of starts with something that's a little bit maybe a little uncomfortable to watch or uncomfortable to see. But that's what's really great about it. I feel so lucky to be a part of it.
So many people watching right now either have a family member or a friend that has been affected by serious acne throughout some point of their lives. Can you maybe talk about some myths and misconceptions about acne?
Sure. I mean, I think greasy food, right? I'm sure like a mom has told the son, like, you stop eating that pizza because that's really just going to make your acne worse. Well, pizza only causes acne if you rub it all over your face because that's where you're getting oil on your skin. Eating pizza is not going to transfer to oil increasing in your skin. So that's one myth. Also, you need to wash your face more because your skin is just dirty and that's why you're getting acne. Well, actually, overwashing your face can make your acne much worse and make your skin really irritated and, even increase the risk for scarring and bleeding and things like that. So, I think what's really important is to get people understanding the root cause of acne, which is really due to our hormones. And in many ways, we can't really control that unless you really use some medications that are going to specifically help to lower those levels.
What about your gut? I hear a lot of doctors talk about your microbiome, your gut as maybe a source of some acne out there. Is that true?
I mean, I think that the microbiome and, people doing probiotics and prebiotics and postbiotics are all to try to increase the health of our gut and also potentially increase the health of our skin in many ways. And, there's a lot of new things that we're learning in that sort of arena. But it's just part of the whole process. And I think in general, if we feel healthy, in general, our skin is going to look more healthy. We're going to feel good about ourselves.
If you had to maybe give 3 headlines of the best things for teenagers and adults to do in order to maintain a clean, healthy skin without acne, what would you tell them?
I would say make sure to address your skin if it is oily, because the oiliness is really what is a key promoter for acne. I would say for the health of your skin, make sure you wear sunscreen and protect it from sun damage or premature aging, skin cancer, that sort of thing. And the third is probably to smile and be happy, because happiness really, really makes us feel good and really makes your skin look better. And really, when you smile, you have fewer wrinkles too. So.
Quickly, where can people get more information from you with regards to the campaign that you're on and acne health overall?
Yes, there's a website, acnehormones.com.
Awesome. All right, Dr. Sandra Lee, Dr. Pimple Popper, thanks so much for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We appreciate your info.
Thank you.
So many people are trying to eat better, eat healthier. That's one of the big New Year's resolutions, right? And it's so important to really kind of take an inner look at what you're doing. How are your eating habits? Are you eating too much at late? What are you eating? Should you be eating as much as you are? Should you be eating less? There's so many different questions, and that's why we are going to bring in a clinical dietitian here. This is Kristen Wyenberg. She's our clinical dietitian with Regional One Health. Kristen, how are you this morning? I'm doing great. So let's talk about healthy eating, and let's first talk about the meal of the day, that first meal and breakfast. Tell me why breakfast is so important.
Yeah, so it's the first meal of the day. You always hear that it's the most important meal of the day, and I definitely believe that because it fuels your brain, first of all, and then it's just another opportunity to get in important nutrients throughout the day. So, fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals. If you're skipping out on breakfast, then you're skipping out on another opportunity to get those things in your diet. And then also, if you eat breakfast, you're also less likely to overeat later in the day, which is a problem for a lot of people. So I definitely recommend starting your day with a healthy breakfast.
So if you were to craft, I guess, kind of the perfect breakfast, what would that entail?
Yeah, so I always say you want a protein, a carb, and color. So fruits and vegetables. So you do want to have your protein, like you were saying earlier, because that's going to help you feel fuller and more satisfied longer through the day, versus the carbs alone would just run through you and then you would be hungry again. So you want to have all of them. You want to have carbs, so like oatmeal, protein, from like a hard-boiled egg, and then some sort of color for vitamins and nutrients. So like a fruit, like mixed fruit, or maybe some spinach in your eggs, something like that. But that would be considered the ideal breakfast.
Okay, and sugar is, I feel like, I'm a health conscious guy. I try to eliminate a lot of the sugars and trans fats out of my diet and all that stuff. Sugar is really just kind of the root of all evil, isn't it? I mean, it's inflammatory. It increases aging. I mean, we shouldn't have it at all, right?
So you definitely want to limit the amount of sugar that you're eating. I would say that trying to completely eliminate it is probably unrealistic because there is going to be sugar in everything. So, taking the approach of trying to completely eliminate sugar I would say, is not the way to go. You want to take baby steps to decrease the amount of sugar that you're consuming. You basically want to set yourself up for success. So if you're trying to be perfect and completely eliminate it, you know, that's going to be tough versus if you try to take baby steps to, you know, use a little bit less sugar in your coffee every day until you're drinking just black coffee. That is a better way to approach it so that you don't feel discouraged if you end up, you know, having a piece of candy or something like that. You want to set yourself up for success.
So, Kristen, I'm curious of what you think about this next question, because we've talked to someone specifically about intermittent fasting. And you know, as you get older, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, intermittent fasting seems very hot. In fact, it's one of the hottest fads right now in terms of dieting. A lot of people skip meals. Where do you stand on skipping meals, intermittent fasting, that sort of thing?
So I personally do not believe in skipping meals. I just so that, you know, a lot of times when you skip meals, you're going to end up overeating later in the day. So I believe in eating more regularly scheduled meals and snacks, just so that you have a steady state of nutrients coming in throughout the day. You know, intermittent fasting can work for some people, but if you're just starting out in your healthy eating journey, I would definitely recommend sticking with regularly scheduled meals and snacks. A lot of people, you know, will try to save up, like they'll skip meals, they'll try to save up, you know, for a big dinner at the end of the day, but you actually end up overeating in calories if you do that compared to if you just eat some at breakfast and then enjoy your meal at night. So I would definitely, if you're starting out, just eat 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day, and try to keep a steady schedule.
Kristen, what about someone who's watching right now? Because we have thousands that are watching us currently. If they are just starting out on their healthy food journey and they want to figure out, okay, I can't have too much sugar, I need to have breakfast, I got to have protein. Give us a really simple guideline of where people should begin their healthy eating journey. I mean, maybe bullet points or something like that. Can you do that for us?
Yeah. So if you're just starting out and you want to eat healthy, I would say, you know, the first thing is to try to have each food group at each meal. So like I said, look at your plate. You want to have a carb on it, a protein on it, and some sort of color. So that's a simple formula for you to remember. The second thing is to try to plan meals ahead. You know, you don't want to go into a new journey without a plan. So just write down a list of 3 meals that you want to cook for the week, make extra of all of it, and then eat that for the week. And then make sure, the third thing that I would recommend is just stock your fridge and pantry with healthy, ready to eat foods. You don't want to have any barriers to success. So surrounding yourself with healthy options that you like is a good place to start. I really like, you know, frozen veggies are easy, hummus, edamame, hard-boiled eggs, Greek yogurt. Those are all examples of healthy snacks, you know, that you can keep stocked in your pantry or fridge. And then lastly, just work on making one healthy choice at a time. So meet yourself where you're at. If you normally eat eggs and bacon for breakfast, see how you can, either what you can change or what you can add to make that healthier. So for example, switching out the bacon for turkey bacon or adding a side of fruit. You just really want to meet yourself where you're at and take baby steps, and surround yourself with foods that you like and remove any barriers that would hinder your success.
I got you, Kristen. I know that there are so many different staples. You mentioned a number of them there. You know, having healthy food around you, so key, so important. You mentioned, you know, frozen veggies and hummus and Greek yogurt, berries, nuts, that sort of thing. Eggs are like sky high right now, price-wise. Any alternative to eggs, since it is like super expensive to buy some of the good ones?
Yeah, I would recommend yogurt, you know, especially in the morning, Greek yogurt, because that's going to be the highest in protein, or even like milk, dairy products. Those are going to be good alternatives in the breakfast sense. You or adding protein powder to a smoothie. Those would be the alternatives I would recommend.
Okay, and then I know diet is more important than exercise, but give me the relationship between those two in order to have kind of a healthy lifestyle, healthy living, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so exercise is extremely important. Like you said, diet is in theory more important, but it works better if you combine the two. So exercise is good for your brain health. It helps you manage your weight. So you have a little more leeway with what you're eating if you're exercising more. You want to fuel your exercise with a healthy diet. It strengthens your muscles and bones. It improves your overall quality of life. So I would definitely recommend exercise. The current recommendation is getting 30 minutes of like moderate activity a day. And then if you can throw in 2 days of strength training or any type of body weight resistance training, that you will definitely set yourself up for success.
All right, Kristen, this has been great. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go that you haven't mentioned with regards to eating healthier lifestyle, way to connect with your healthy goals in 2023? Maybe just some regular steps people can do every day.
Yeah, so like I said, just don't try to be perfect, plan ahead, make your grocery list, and just try to have each component on your plate, and don't skip meals. And then if you are trying to further your goals, you can always reach out to a dietitian at your local gym, reach out to, dietitians at your local hospital or outpatient clinics, and we can help you with your journey.
Kristen Wayenberg, clinical dietitian for Regional One Health. We really appreciate this conversation. We're always trying to better ourselves, trying to eat healthier, and this really helps us a lot. So appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
There are so many job seekers out there trying to navigate this market. There's all kinds of different things. There's fears of recession, there's inflation, all kinds of different concerns. Well, there is now an artificial intelligence, an AI-powered career tool that Google says it is helping job seekers out there. Let's bring in Andrea Willis, Google technology expert, to talk more about this AI-powered tool. Good morning, Andrea. Let's talk about this tool and what exactly it does. How are you?
Doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So tell me about this tool. What is it?
Yeah, so just like you said, we are seeing on Google search that so many people are looking to change jobs right now. So can I change jobs is actually at a 5-year high at the moment in search. And so we have a number of tools to help people do that. So you mentioned AI. The first tool that we have is called Interview Warm-Up, and it uses machine learning to help people practice their interview responses. So the tool has a list of commonly asked questions that we have run by industry experts. You answer those questions out loud, and AI actually records those responses, saves them for you privately, transcribes them for you, and also helps detect common things in your answers. So whether you're repeating certain words, key themes. And so it's a really great way to practice being interview ready in a comfortable setting.
Tell me how many, or what is the specific job, or is there a field that people are most interested in right now?
Yes. So there are a number of things that people are searching for. We're seeing that people are really interested in becoming data analysts. So that was the top how to become over the past year. People are really interested in how do I get into real estate? How do I become, a medical assistant or a notary? So those are just a few of the kind of top searches we're seeing right now.
Okay, and a lot of people go to Google to see if they have the right kind of skills, ways to earn extra money, even with side hustles. And those AI tools that you're talking about that Google has, can that help with like the interview process as well? I mean, give me the comprehensive look.
It can help with the interview process as well. So first, we have a great training program that we recommend for people who are looking to get in-demand skills. It's called the Google Career Certificates Program. It can equip you with job-ready skills in 3 to 6 months for in-demand careers like data analytics, cybersecurity, IT support, etc. And then when you are really looking into the job search process, we recommend Bard. It's our generative AI tool, and it helps by helping you craft resumes, cover letters, emails back to employers, whether you're thanking them for an interview or negotiating. You just go to the tool, and for instance, you could say, help me write a cover letter for a data analyst position, or help me improve my resume, and it'll help you do just that.
Okay, Andrea Willis, Google technology expert. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for telling us about this AI career tool that is available. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We have your forecast coming up in just a little bit. Right now, I want to show you the latest edition and the cover of La Prensa Latina, the largest bilingual newspaper in the Memphis area. And on the cover, beautiful cover there, lots of colors, summer camps. Yes, if you have a child of that grade school age, you got to be thinking about summer camps. You probably have already been thinking about summer camps for the last few weeks. Well, that is certainly on the minds of many, including those at La Prensa Latina. I am joined now by Jairo Aguirre, who covers everything across Memphis and the Mid-South at La Prensa Latina. Jairo, happy Friday to you. How are you?
Happy Friday, Andrew. I'm going to call you Andres. That's going to be your Latino name, Andres.
Excelente. I love it. I love it. So tell me about it. We got summer camps all around. Tell me about this article that's inside La Prensa Latina.
Yeah, as you can see on our front page, we have, for the parents, for the kids, even for the parents, we have some tickets we'll be giving away in our next edition. You'll see them there below. But Vivian's put together, our editor put together an awesome different things you can do with your kids. You can go to the Orpheum. They have summer camps from ages all the way to 3rd grade, all the way to the 12th grade. So the Orpheum offers Arts Explore, which is for the 3rd and 5th grade, which they'll learn to act, improvise, and even rehearse some songs. Camp Collaborative, from 6th to 8th grade, inspired by Broadway's musical theater intensive. That's going to be for your 9th and 12th graders. So there's room for all the kids, if they, especially those that love going to the Orpheum, love pursuing acting, loves to sing and dance. That's going to be your way to go. And for those that are more into the science, we have Mosh. So Mosh has an excellent also summer camp. So if your kids love dinosaurs, they have an exhibit for that they can go to. They love the greening of Mars, which is pretty cool. I would love to go to that one. That's something that would be super cool to do. So that's gonna be again from July. Well, all the dates and all the information you can find them in La Prensa. Don't want to go over all the dates, but the Memphis Zoo too. The Memphis Zoo has an amazing plan packed out. So from June 3rd to August 2nd, except July 4th and 5th, there'll be arts and crafts. You'll be able to talk to zookeepers. So I mean, the Memphis Zoo in general, it's an amazing place to go. And especially when they have something special planned, like the summer camps, that's going to be super amazing. And we have Vivian's put together other list of other summer camps you can go to for like the YMCA, and other places you can go to. So laprensalatina.com or social media sites as well.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, there's something for everyone when it comes to summer camps.
Yeah.
You can go to the Orpheum, you can go to the zoo, you can go to the Museum of Science and History. Everybody knows it as the Pink Palace. So absolutely, there's so many different things for kids all across the area. No question about it. Again, laprensalatina.com, or you can pick up a copy of the newspaper on stands right now. Want to go to this article, Jairo, and talk a little bit about this Breakfast with Books, celebrating 6 years in the Memphis community. Tell me more.
Yeah, so Desayuno con Libros, I remember many years ago when it started, great program. It's for literature. They basically make sure that they emphasize on the literature. What's cool about it too is that not just literature in Spanish, they actually do it in English and Spanish. And I think it's a pretty cool initiative because as our generation continues growing up, they sometimes tend to lose that Spanish language, how to read, how to write. And I think that it's important that this organization is doing their best to make sure that they keep the community involved, the parents involved, and especially around literature. So they have arts and crafts that they do surrounding literature. They have many special guests that come in and read to these kids. And this is going to be, again, this is the 6-year anniversary, which is going to be celebrated on March 16th, from starting at 10 a.m. And it's going to be at the Memphis Park's Geisman Park. And if you haven't been to Geisman Park lately, it's an amazing renovation that they did there. Guys.
Jairo, we lost you, buddy. We lost you. But March 16th, 10 o'clock in the morning, on March 16th, they're going to have this celebration celebrating the 6th anniversary of Breakfast with Books, serving the Memphis community. That is certainly something that is exciting. And you can read more about it on the pages of La Prensa Latina and laprensalatina.com. We appreciate everybody over there, whether it's Vivian, whether it is Jairo, and all the people that work hard there, the staff at La Prensa Latina. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a short break as we take a live look from our High Five camera there in Midtown Memphis. 56 degrees on a Friday. Your forecast in 30 seconds.
On here, but this weekend We have, for the first time in Memphis, Tennessee, the Consulate of El Salvador, who's going to be in.
Thanks for engaging with us here on the Action News 5 digital desk. The bottom line over the next couple of days, everyone deals with spring-like warmth, even though that as we head into your Saturday, temperatures will actually feel a little bit more like February across the area, back to near normal, but that will be short-lived. The vast majority of your 7-day forecast will be above average. Everyone gets gusty breezes, including today, but we'll see off and on the winds picking up again. Today out of the north and west as we get towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, winds coming out of the south, helping to import moisture in the warmer air. And some of us could have to tangle with a strong or severe thunderstorm by late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, though, let's enjoy some great weather here today. Temperatures starting off 40s and 50s, a little bit of patchy fog, though. Sunshine wins out with temperatures towards the middle 60s before it's all said and done. Again, more akin to what we would normally see for the first couple of days of spring. Tomorrow will feel a bit more like where we should be for this time of the year with temperatures in the 50s. Here's a look at our first alert futurecast. Again, we've had some patchy areas of fog developing this morning. That will all lift and sunshine wins out with temperatures that will top out generally in the 60s this afternoon with that northwesterly breeze helping to funnel in some of that cooler air. It's a little weak disturbance that will move across portions of middle and east Tennessee late tonight into tomorrow. It's going to nudge the numbers down a couple of notches. You see up in some of the higher terrain along the Cumberland Plateau, a couple of snowflakes can't be ruled out, but nothing to worry about in our neck of the woods. Obviously, with temperatures, they'll be running in the 50s, close to 60 degrees. We go into the start of your Sunday with a couple of passing clouds. I think in general, a mixture of clouds and sunshine with temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s coming up on your day Sunday. And we start the process of staying plenty warm heading into early portions of next week. It sets the stage for the big, broad storm system. Keep in mind, you can't have temperatures that are running 10 to 15, 20 degrees above average for this time of the year without something to give. And it's, of course, the atmosphere is nothing but give and take. So it's giving us the warmer temperatures. It's about to take it back as we head towards the middle portion of next week by way of a storm system that will come out of the plain states, of course, bringing us chances for rain and storms. And not only storms, but maybe the risk for an isolated strong or severe thunderstorm to come along with it late Tuesday heading into Wednesday. You know, if you're looking on social media, if you're doom scrolling on social media, you might find a couple of things that are comparing this system to a larger severe weather outbreak. We just don't know at this point, okay? There are ingredients that would lend itself to severe weather. Don't get me wrong there. There are also ingredients that work against severe weather, which will hopefully manifest itself into mitigating a severe weather threat across the board. But to say it now, it's a little early. We know that the pattern lends itself to the potential for severe weather, but you can have all the ingredients in the world, okay? You can put that into a mixing bowl. Try to mix all those ingredients together. But if you are trying to make a cake and you haven't turned on the oven, it's just not going to work, right? You're not going to end up with the cake, right? So you just have a bowl of ingredients. Let's hope that that's how it plays out. But again, could we have some of those ingredients get into that oven that we finally have preheated and things have started to warm up? Yeah, it's a possibility. So at this point, nothing that you need to be worried about, but something that you should keep in the back of your mind is a possibility as that line of showers and thunderstorms come sweeping through the area. Now, behind that system, we look to turn cooler. The question mark here is that as we turn cooler in the wake of this front, is the front going to be progressive, meaning it goes from west to east and moves off the coastline, it's out of here? Or does it hang up down the Gulf of Mexico? Remember, we got a pretty decent upper ridge that is trying to develop here that is going to have a hard time of breaking down, even with the cold front moving through the area. So that could have its own implications because if the ridge holds firm, it's going to back that front back northward and bring us another wave of rain possibly towards the end of next week. To be seen about that. I think that that's going to be something that we kind of will be changeable in the forecast, variable in the forecast as we head towards the back end of that 7-day and into the 10-day forecast. In the meantime, I can tell you with a surety that we're going to have a fantastic weekend across the area with temperatures that will top out today in the 60s, breezy, cooler breezes that will usher in temperatures down into the upper 50s to near 60 by Saturday, mostly sunny. A mixture of clouds and sun as the winds begin to pick up now out of the south and west. That's going to help to usher in warmer air, lower to middle 70s expected, with a chance for a few showers late in the day on Tuesday, and then leading Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when we have that risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. Again, possibility, not a certainty. And then the question mark is, how quickly does that move out of here? Will we have to tangle with it into Thursday with the resurgence of moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico? It does look cooler, don't get me wrong. And then beyond that, in the 10-day forecast, we do trend warmer again heading into the first portion of the month of March. But to be seen how that risk for rain and storms and the severe weather risk that does come along with it, how it will play out. Of course, we'll keep you updated over the next couple of days here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well as actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
We got Jennifer Chandler back in. Feels like it's been forever, Jennifer, since we talked with you. Glad to have you back. And, you know, a lot of people during Lent, during the Lenten season, they like to refrain from meat. And so I think your title of the best fish dishes across Memphis and the Mid-South is perfect. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. And first and foremost, happy Valentine's Day. And one of the reasons I wrote this story, because Valentine's Day falls on Ash Wednesday, which is a day of abstaining from meat. And then for the next 6 weeks, there will be abstaining from meat on Fridays. And so I thought I would, for those that are Catholic and observe those traditions, so I thought I'd compile this list for those people, as well as people who just love to eat fish, which I'm a big fan of fish dishes.
Me too. Me too. I'm with you. Let's go.
So the first one on my list, and first I actually have to say, this list was a little hard to put together in some respects, because it's funny how many dishes have like bacon in it or chicken stock or pork. So all the dishes on this list that we're going to talk about today, I have a full list of 10 up on the commercialappeal.com, but all of them are meat free. So there's no pork and no chicken stock, no meat in them at all. So these are all Lent approved, or if people are avoiding pork approved, fish dishes. So the first one on my list is at Dory Restaurant in Brookhaven Circle. And this dish it's called scallops and mussels. And it is a very kind of simple dish, but done so well. I mean, it is just sublime. It is perfectly seared scallops and with a few perfectly cooked mussels that are served over a just creamy, perfectly cooked risotto. A citrus beurre blanc kind of ties it all together. It's one of those dishes that I say kind of exemplifies why Chef David Krog over at Dory is one of the best chefs in Memphis, because he can make something so simple be so elevated. And it's really, really one of my favorite dishes there, and something that I order every time I go. So next on my list is Tsunami. So Tsunami has this dish. Their roasted sea bass is kind of been It's a quintessential Memphis fish dish that makes pretty much every best fish dish list in Memphis for decades now. I think that Chef Ben Smith put it on his very first menu, and he has never been able to take it off because people always complain because it is so beloved. And again, simple dish with everything done perfectly. He takes and pan sears a piece of sea bass until it has this golden crust that you can see in this photo. So delicious. And he serves it over the black Thai rice, which if you've not had this, it's like this kind of like sticky, nutty flavored rice that's so flavorful. And then it's all kind of tied together with a soy beurre blanc butter sauce. And again, pretty much 3 components make up this dish, but it is one of those things that is so wonderful. And again, a dish when I go to this restaurant that I order very often. Moving along, if you like crab, the next 2 dishes are going to be ones you're going to want to check out. Coastal Fish Company has my favorite crab cake in the city of Memphis. It is like all crab, very little binder. You can see from the picture that it is just like pieces of jumbo lump crab meat, kind of lightly held together. It's served with a stone ground mustard sauce that is actually, you think stone ground mustard, it might be strong flavored. It actually is kind of perfectly tempered and is a great complement to the crab cakes there. And one of the other things that I love about this dish is, as you can see in this photo, it has the corn. The corn is like a bruleed corn. So it's like cream of corn, like good old Southern cream of corn. And they kind of put, I guess, some sugar on top and brulee it and add this like crunch to it. And it is so decadently good. One of my things that I like to tell people about Coastal Fish Company, and I shouldn't tell it too much, I can't believe I'm going to give my secret away, is that make a reservation around sunset. So that I swear that restaurant has the most beautiful sunset view in the city of Memphis because it's sitting there right on in Shelby Farms on the banks of Hyde Lake. And it is just a stunning sunset. So in the winter, that means you got to have dinner a little bit early. The early bird special, as I always call it, at like 5:30 or so. But in the winter, in the summer months, you can definitely do it later. But, I always try to plan my reservation there about 30 minutes before sunset. So that we can be enjoying a glass of wine and an appetizer as the sun is setting for one of the most beautiful views in the city of Memphis. Moving on, Dim Sum King. So this restaurant over on Summer Avenue is one of my favorite restaurants to go to with a group and do family style because there's so many things on the menu and so much to choose from. It's much more fun to do it with these large plates that come family style so you can try a little bit of everything. And the dish for them that I chose was their Hong Kong style crab. So this is a dish where they basically, it's very impressive when it comes to the table, but it is basically fried crab legs and pieces of crab, kind of tempura fried, and it's served with what they call their XO sauce, which is just this flavorful sauce that has a little bit of a kick, but not too much of a kick. And it's kind of garnished with things like jalapeno and some dried onion and there are other kind of seasoning blends that they put on. And it's just really kind of a fun dish to share at the table. And one of the things that, they take their seafood very seriously at this particular Chinese restaurant. When you walk in the door, of course, the first thing you're going to see is a tank full of eels. I don't know if I'm going to be eating eel, but if you look along the other wall, there's an entire wall full of fresh seafood that is swimming around. So the crabs and the lobsters and the fish that you eat come from those tanks. So it is as fresh as you can get. And it is, as I said, this is a really fun restaurant to go. That would be a good Galentine's spot for Valentine's Day, but it would also be a fun thing to do with a bunch of your friends on an evening to go and share these dishes. And then last on my list is biscuits and jams. So if you've not been to this brunch spot in Bartlett, you need to check it out. It is such a great concept. Monique Williams is the chef and the owner, and it is all about breakfast, lunch, and brunch here. And she makes it fun. She makes her homemade biscuits, and then the jam. She also makes homemade jams, but they're also fun tunes playing. And she has one of my favorite breakfast dishes in town. This shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict is just really, really sublime. The sauce with the crawfish and the shrimp is just, reminiscent of something you would have in New Orleans. It's super flavorful. But one of the things I really love about it is instead of using the traditional English muffins for the Benedict, what she does is she makes a kind of like a cheddar grits cake. So it is like almost like think grits meets hash browns. So it's kind of like this crispy exterior and this soft interior. And then she puts this garlicky spinach on top, and then the egg, and then the sauce. And it's really yummy, yummy, yummy. And a shout out for Monique that she is about to open a second biscuits and jams downtown. It will be coming downtown probably later this spring, so be on the lookout for that. So those are 5 of my favorite ones that I picked. There are 5 more that you need to check out at commercialappeal.com when you're thinking about where you want to go for a delicious fish dish this time of year, during Lent, or any time of year.
Yes, I'm someone that loves fish. Growing up in South Florida, I love all seafood. And so I've only been to Coastal Fish and Tsunami there to get their fish dishes. So I'm excited to check out some more. And it's just, I can't wait to check out the other 5 on commercialappeal.com/food.
Yes, this was a fun one for me to do because I love all of these things. I just think that, fish any time of the year is a great thing, and Memphis restaurants do it really, really well. So think beyond the barbecue, and we're going to make ourselves be known as the Fish City. How about that?
I love it. I love it. Jennifer Chandler, as always, thank you so much for all the insight into the best dishes in Memphis, and this time, the best fish dishes that we love. Thank you so much, Jennifer. One in 4 Americans say they don't do a good job recycling, and they're confused about what can be recycled and what cannot be recycled. And so understanding the myths and truths about recycling and what really happens to those plastic bottles when you toss them in the recycle bin, let's bring in someone to help us through and kind of sift through all this fact versus fiction. I'm joined now by Jeremy Walters. He is Sustainability Ambassador with Republic Services. Jeremy joining us on the digital desk. Jeremy, good morning to you. Thanks for being here. Let's talk about, first off, the efforts to recycle and how important they are. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, recycling is so fundamentally important when we talk about sustainability, but we got to do it right. And so think about recyclables as just as valuable as natural resources in which they were originally derived. So make sure that you do recycle these things. They can find second, third, fourth, fifth life and beyond, but they have to go in the recycling bin.
I get this question all the time with my kids and certainly others, neighbors, that sort of thing. The type of plastics that are supposed to be in the recycle bin, it really varies, and sometimes people just don't know. Is there like one just umbrella rule that you could say, okay, when you have this type of plastic, put it in the bin?
Yep, we can make it super simple. Don't focus on the numbers. Just focus on the characteristic. Think rigid plastic containers. So that's going to encompass a whole bunch of different types of bottles, jugs, and tubs. But again, rigid plastic containers.
That's a good, nice blanket kind of response there. I understand you have a number of different products in front of you. Are these all products that can be recycled?
Yeah, definitely. Aside from the paper, the cardboard, the metal cans, these are the types of plastic that you should be placing in the recycling bin. All excellent for recycling. Not so much this stuff. The flexible plastic is where there's a lot of confusion. That wraps and tangles around the sorting equipment. So leave that stuff out and just focus on the good stuff.
Got it. Okay, so rigid plastic, not the kind that just is always in motion, and those plastic bags. I hate those things. I always try to get paper. When they ask paper or plastic at the grocery store, I'm always a paper kind of guy. Can you share some of the common myths when it comes to recycling, specifically recycling plastic?
Yeah, one of the most common ones that I hear all the time is that plastics recycling just simply doesn't happen. If you throw your recyclables in the bin, then we just throw them away, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. There's a misleading statistic out there that says only 5% of plastic gets recycled, and while there's a layer of truth to that, it doesn't tell the whole story. Plastic is all around us, from the bumper of your car to the keyboard on your desk. Not everything can be recycled. So when we look at the stuff that can, like a bottle, it actually has a recycling rate closer to 30%. And while that's vastly better than 5, there's still room for improvement. And that's because we're only putting 3 out of 10 bottles in the recycling bin to begin with. So we got to make sure that we recycle all of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. A few years ago, I would put glass in my recycle bin. Did glass used to be part of the whole recycling aspects? And I don't do it anymore. Is it not a part of it anymore? Can you give me some guidance on that?
Yeah, so you'd want to check with whoever your specific service provider is on whether they accept glass in the commingled curbside bin. Some do curbside collection, but you have to put it in a separate bin. It depends on the processes at the recycling center where it goes. Glass is recyclable, but you also have to layer in the economics of it too. And once it goes through a recycling process, glass is heavy. And if there's no glass recycler within a few hundred miles of your municipality, the economics may not make sense. And then that's where maybe think about other ways to be more sustainable and reuse the glass.
Good idea. Good idea. Okay, you mentioned just briefly some other things that are recyclables, cardboard, that sort of thing. Can you just kind of just run over maybe some bullet points of what other things can go in the recycle bin other than rigid plastic?
Yeah, so metal food and beverage containers are great for recycling. Clean and dry paper and cardboard. And where I say clean and dry is because what is your pizza box made from? Pizza box is made from cardboard. Don't just go throw it straight in the bin. If the bottom's got grease and cheese on it, you can tear it in half, recycle the clean half. And then again, you can check with your local service provider on the acceptance of glass.
That's good. I like it. These are great to the point questions. Anything else you wanted to mention that we haven't touched on with regards to recycling that you feel is important to our audience? We have thousands of people that watch us on the digital desk.
Yeah, I'd say when it comes to recycling itself, there is a right way to do it. And while all these are great for recycling, you do want to rinse them out gently. Not a ton of water, but just a little bit of water goes a long way. You know, think of a ketchup bottle, for example. You don't want residual ketchup in there because if it spills out on this stuff, we do have to throw it away. So think empty, clean, dry. Like I said, a little bit of water goes a long way. Swirl it around, tap it dry, put the cap back on, and then you can throw it in the recycling bin.
Valuable information, Jeremy. Really quickly, where can we find some of this information online? Is there a place?
Yeah, recyclingsimplified.com. Great website, lots of videos, tips, tricks, activities for the kids. And if there's any teachers out there watching, we do offer free downloadable curriculum.
All right, Jeremy Walters with Republic Services. We really appreciate you just giving us the deep download on how to recycle the good, bad, and what not to do. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for engaging with us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The bottom line over the next couple of days, everyone deals with spring-like warmth, even though that as we head into your Saturday, temperatures will actually feel a little bit more like February across the area, back to near normal, but that will be short-lived. The vast majority of your 7-day forecast will be above average. Everyone gets gusty breezes, including today, but we'll see off and on the winds picking up again. Today out of the north and west as we get towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, winds coming out of the south, helping to import moisture in the warmer air. And some of us could have to tangle with a strong or severe thunderstorm by late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, though, let's enjoy some great weather here today. Temperatures starting off 40s and 50s, a little bit of patchy fog, though. Sunshine wins out with temperatures towards the middle 60s before it's all said and done. Again, more akin to what we would normally see for the first couple of days of spring. Tomorrow will feel a bit more like where we should be for this time of the year with temperatures in the 50s. Here's a look at our First Alert Futurecast. Again, we've had some patchy areas of fog developing this morning. That will all lift and sunshine wins out with temperatures that will top out generally in the 60s this afternoon with that northwesterly breeze helping to funnel in some of that cooler air. It's a little weak disturbance that will move across portions of middle and east Tennessee late tonight into tomorrow. It's going to nudge the numbers down a couple of notches. You see up in some of the higher terrain along the Cumberland Plateau, a couple of snowflakes can't be ruled out, but nothing to worry about in our neck of the woods. Obviously, with temperatures, they'll be running in the 50s, close to 60 degrees. We go into the start of your Sunday with a couple of passing clouds. I think in general, a mixture of clouds and sunshine with temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s coming up on your day Sunday. And we start the process of staying plenty warm heading into early portions of next week. It sets the stage for the big, broad storm system. Keep in mind, you can't have temperatures that are running 10 to 15, 20 degrees above average for this time of the year without something to give. And it's, of course, the atmosphere is nothing but give and take. So it's giving us the warmer temperatures. It's about to take it back as we head towards the middle portion of next week by way of a storm system that will come out of the plain states, of course, bringing us chances for rain and storms. And not only storms, but maybe the risk for an isolated strong or severe thunderstorm to come along with it late Tuesday heading into Wednesday. You know, if you're looking on social media, if you're doom scrolling on social media, you might find a couple of things that are comparing this system to a larger severe weather outbreak. We just don't know at this point, okay? There are ingredients that would lend itself to severe weather. Don't get me wrong there. There are also ingredients that work against severe weather, which will hopefully manifest itself into mitigating a severe weather threat across the board. But to say it now, it's a little early. We know that the pattern lends itself to the potential for severe weather, but you can have all the ingredients in the world, okay? You can put that into a mixing bowl. Try to mix all those ingredients together. But if you are trying to make a cake and you haven't turned on the oven, it's just not going to work, right? You're not going to end up with a cake, right? So you just have a bowl of ingredients. Let's hope that that's how it plays out. But again, could we have some of those ingredients get into that oven that we finally have preheated and things have started to warm up? Yeah, it's a possibility. So at this point, nothing that you need to be worried about but something that you should keep in the back of your mind is a possibility as that line of showers and thunderstorms come sweeping through the area. Now, behind that system, we look to turn cooler. The question mark here is that as we turn cooler in the wake of this front, is the front going to be progressive, meaning it goes from west to east and moves off the coastline, it's out of here? Or does it hang up down the Gulf of Mexico? Remember, we got a pretty decent upper ridge that is trying to develop here that is going to have a hard time of breaking down, even with the cold front moving through the area. So that could have its own implications, because if the ridge holds firm, it's going to back that front back northward and bring us another wave of rain possibly through towards the end of next week. To be seen about that. I think that that's going to be something that we kind of will be changeable in the forecast, variable in the forecast as we head towards the back end of that 7-day and into the 10-day forecast. In the meantime, I can tell you with a surety that we're going to have a fantastic weekend across the area with temperatures that will top out today in the 60s, breezy, cooler breezes that will usher in temperatures down into the upper 50s to near 60 by Saturday, mostly sunny. A mixture of clouds and sun as the winds begin to pick up now out of the south and west. That's going to help to usher in warmer air, lower to middle 70s expected, with a chance for a few showers late in the day on Tuesday, and then leading Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when we have that risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. Again, possibility, not a certainty. And then the question mark is, how quickly does that move out of here? Will we have to tangle with it into Thursday with the resurgence of moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico? It does look cooler, don't get me wrong. And then beyond that, in the 10-day forecast, we do trend warmer again heading into the first portion of the month of March. But to be seen how that risk for rain and storms and the severe weather risk that does come along with it, how it will play out. Of course, we'll keep you updated over the next couple of days here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well as actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. It is mid to late July. It still very much feels like summer, and it is summer certainly across Memphis and the Mid-South. So we got barbecues, we got vacations, slower routines. A season certainly being enjoyed by so many people, but summer can be a difficult time when it comes to healthy choices. It's not only indulgent foods, lazy days that can hurt your heart health, but you may not realize that the weather itself may present a risk here. I'm joined right now by Dr. Suzanne Steinbaum. She's a cardiologist, and she has some important summer heart health safety tips. Dr. Steinbaum, good morning to you. How do the higher temperatures impact our heart?
Well, it's certainly hot out there across the country. And what a lot of people don't know is these sweltering temperatures can actually affect the heart. It can be associated with high blood pressure. It can increase the heart rate. In fact, on these hot days, it could increase the amount of blood circulating through our body 2 times that of normal temperatures. What that means is the heart is working very hard in these hot temperature days. And if there's atherosclerosis, blockages in the arteries, history of heart attack or heart failure, these really hot temperatures can be dangerous. So it's important, if you have risk factors for heart disease, that you go see your doctor to find out if a medication regimen or an aspirin regimen might be important for you.
What about people staying active during the summer? You know, a lot of us, there's a lot of people out there like to bike, they like to run, jog, that sort of thing. But here in Memphis and the Mid-South, of course, we're in North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee. The temperatures, especially today, triple-digit heat when you factor in the humidity. It is so hot outside. So what's the best way to maintain that active lifestyle that we all come to appreciate when temperatures are so hot?
It's so hard because it's not great to go outside in these really hot days and exercise. So I say you have to just make a shift and go indoors, exercise in the air conditioning. You can get on a stationary bike instead of biking outside, or a treadmill inside instead of running outside. But be indoors and exercise indoors might be the best option for you. Do anything to get your heart rate up, even have a dance party if that's better for you inside. But for those of us that want to exercise outside, do it in the morning or in the evening before the temperatures get really high, or at the end of the day when they come down. And know that you don't have to push yourself that hard to get the benefit of exercise. Moderate intensity exercise is all you need to do. And you can use a heart monitor to keep track of that moderate intensity. Or if you don't have that, just pay attention to how you feel. If you're so short of breath that you cannot catch your breath when exercising, back off, slow down. You just need to be a little short of breath so it's hard to finish a sentence. And that's good enough to keep up a heart-healthy exercise regimen.
So in the summer, Dr. Steinbaum, so many people are traveling. They're going on these great vacations. You know, maybe sometimes it's right around the corner or very far away overseas. And a lot of times we're off our diet. We're off, you know, kind of our food regimen that we normally like to have during any given week. So what are your biggest tips for maintaining that heart-healthy diet, or at least the heart-healthy proper way of eating during those holiday vacations where we just want to splurge?
You know, we go on vacation. That doesn't mean we should be on vacation from our own personal health. Enjoy your time away, try the foods, take a bite, but you don't have to overindulge. Instead of eating every sweet out there, you can have a juicy piece of fruit. Just pay attention, and moderation is key, and maybe a little bit of planning. So instead of grabbing all the things that are not healthy for us, pack nuts, make your own healthy trail mix, put fruit in your bag, carry it with you so you have options there that are really good for you, instead of just going off the rails and eating everything you want. And maintaining that exercise regimen is also important. Vacation should also mean maintaining heart health, and we have to really plan. Plan on remembering your medication and your aspirin if this is something that's been recommended to you by your doctor, and really make sure that you're keeping a journal to remind yourself to take your medication, to remind yourself to eat healthy. Keep track of what you're doing and stay accountable, and that's the best way to stay heart healthy during your vacation time.
What else can we talk about when it comes to heart health in the summer? We've talked about exercising. We've talked about ways to stay on some sort of food regimen, a diet, if you will. Anything else?
I think it's really important for everyone to understand that 80% of the time heart disease is preventable, and it has so much to do with our lifestyle choices. We mentioned how we eat, we mentioned how we move, but it's also about sleeping and stress and paying attention to how we feel. During this summertime, be aware of your own cardiovascular risks. Go to your doctor, get your numbers checked, understand what your risks are and whether or not it's important for you to be on medication or be on an aspirin regimen for prevention. Or if you've had a heart attack or stroke, being on aspirin can be incredibly important. But all of these things are part of a bigger picture, which is that 80% of the time we can prevent a heart event from happening. And talking to your doctor could be one of the most critical things that you can do.
right now you're taking a live look at the University of Memphis on this Friday morning, a very sunny day to the weekend. We're very excited about just how much sunshine we're going to get this weekend. I want to ask you a question. I want you to think back to this morning on your way to work, to school, wherever you were going this morning. Would you happen to have been listening to some classical music? I can't tell you the last time I listened to classical music. So this morning we're talking about that genre of music here in Memphis. And joining me this morning to talk about it is a reporter with the Memphis Flyer, Alex Green. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, Sydney. Good morning.
Hi, so talk to me about classical music being here in Memphis. I want to talk about the beginning of your article. You talk about how there can be some type of patriotism when classical music is performed or played for specific audiences.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it can be patriotism, sure. But, you know, it really pulls people together with a given song from history, whether it's patriotism or some other cause that people feel a common bond through. So, you know, I open the story with this amazing moment when the Memphis Symphony Orchestra was about to play Beethoven's Ninth, but by way of introduction of that concert, they played the Ukrainian national anthem, and it just was like electricity went through the whole audience. And it was very similar a couple weeks ago when they were introducing another concert, and the MSO played Lift Every Voice and Sing, which of course is the Black national anthem, a very powerful historical song. And because the concert as a whole was the Harriet Tubman Oratorio, just hearing that that great song out of our history, over a century old, it connected everyone in that room to that history and all the deeper meanings woven into that. If that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. Talk about staying on that topic of the sentiment and the feeling that you get when you hear that type of music. Talk about how different that feeling is when you hear the rendition of maybe your favorite artist singing that song, maybe Beyonce, compared to that classical sound.
Oh, well, it does take a different kind of listening to appreciate classical music in a way. But, you know, even a Beyonce song, it's very rich and dense with different musical elements and samples and layers. And of course, a symphony is as well. It's just everything is made with 200-year-old instruments. And there's a certain beauty to that acoustic, unmediated sound. There's no speakers involved. You don't need microphones. It's just this raw sound, and it really hits home when you hear a choral group like Opera Memphis or the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church Choir, who sang in the Harriet Tubman Oratorio. This, you know, dozens of voices, just powerful, it just almost knocks you over. So it's a very powerful experience, and in a lot of ways more dynamic, from the quiet to the loud than a pop song.
I like that you mentioned that you don't need a speaker or a microphone. It's safe to say that the music speaks for itself. Lastly, you mentioned...
Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. Where else can people here in the Memphis area or across the Mid-South visit if they are interested in this specific type of music?
Right. Well, the Memphis Symphony Orchestra often plays at the Cannon Center, but they also play at Crosstown Theater in the Crosstown Concourse. Then there are smaller groups like Blue Shift Ensemble or another group, City of Tomorrow, a wind quintet. They'll play at the Green Room at the Crosstown Arts very often. There's the Rudy Scheidt School of Music and their performance hall. There's the Germantown Performing Arts Center, where you can typically hear the Iris Collective, formerly known as the Iris Orchestra. So there are a lot of choices.
Awesome. Well, thank you,
And
Alex. Yeah, go ahead.
there are even some bars where you can hear unexpected, composed music, like B-side every the last Tuesday of every month. They have David Collins's composed flute and guitar and keyboard music. So just a lot of examples.
A lot of examples. Thank you so much for giving us all of those options. I'll have to check some of them out myself this weekend. But thank you so much for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, thanks so much. Great seeing you.
Let's take another live look this morning, this time at Midtown Memphis. Lots of sunshine to go around today. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The Choose Kindness Project is unveiling some groundbreaking resources for parents, educators, and coaches to combat bullying and support youth mental health. I'm joined now by Dr. Yelda Oels. She's a PhD child psychologist, author, and founder of the Center of Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA. Good morning, Dr. Oels. Let's talk a little bit about this project and why it was established.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, this project, the ChooseKindnessProject.org, was established in order to combat bullying and to support youth mental health. It is an alliance of the nation's largest organizations that work on bullying prevention, intentional inclusion, and ultimately, as I said, to combat the mental health crisis that our adolescents are dealing with today.
Gotcha. So tell us about the alarming statistics on the prevalence of bullying right now. And, there's no surprise that it impacts mental health for our youth.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, the statistics are a little bit all over the place, but the most recent statistics that we conducted is we found that 1/3 of adolescents report that they have been bullied. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, depending on the way it's defined. But one of the things that's even more alarming is that while many adolescents say they've been bullied, very few report that they talk to an adult about it.
So the Choose Kindness Project developed some resources in all this, and in response to these findings, tell me about the parent playbook and the educator and coach toolkit.
So these are resources that are free on the site. We developed the parenting playbook at the Center for Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA. And what we did is we took the amazing resources from all of these incredible organizations that are part of Choose Kindness, and we put them together in one easy package. We have 3 different playbooks. One is for adults, caring adults in a child's life who have a child who's been bullied, and there are talking points, ways you can bring this up with your child. We have ways you can talk to the teachers, the schools about it. We also have a playbook for parents parents whose child is a bully. And then we have playbooks for parents who maybe haven't had to deal with this issue, but they want to teach their child to be kind, compassionate, inclusionary, and be sort of proactive about it. There's also educator kits and coaching kits. And if a parent and a teacher or a coach work together, that's going to have the most positive outcomes for our youth.
Where can we go to get these resources?
They're all free on the ChooseKindnessProject.org.
Okay, Dr. Yelda Oulds, thank you so much for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, a great resource for Bullying Prevention Month. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and you can download them anytime.
Thanks for engaging with us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The bottom line over the next couple of days, everyone deals with spring-like warmth, even though that as we head into your Saturday, temperatures will actually feel a little bit more like February across the area, back to near normal, but that will be short-lived. The vast majority of your 7-day forecast will be above average. Everyone gets gusty breezes, including today, but we'll see off and on the winds picking up again. Today out of the north and west as we get towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, winds coming out of the south, helping to import moisture in the warmer air. And some of us could have to tangle with a strong or severe thunderstorm by late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, though, let's enjoy some great weather here today. Temperatures starting off 40s and 50s, a little bit of patchy fog, though. Sunshine wins out with temperatures towards the middle 60s before it's all said and done. Again, more akin to what we would normally see for the first couple of days of spring. Tomorrow will feel a bit more like where we should be for this time of the year with temperatures in the 50s. Here's a look at our first alert futurecast. Again, we've had some patchy areas of fog developing this morning. That will all lift and sunshine wins out with temperatures that will top out generally in the 60s this afternoon with that northwesterly breeze helping to funnel in some of that cooler air. It's a little weak disturbance that will move across portions of middle and east Tennessee late tonight into tomorrow. It's going to nudge the numbers down a couple of notches. You see up in some of the higher terrain along the Cumberland Plateau, a couple of snowflakes can't be ruled out, but nothing to worry about in our neck of the woods. Obviously, with temperatures, they'll be running in the 50s, close to 60 degrees. We go into the start of your Sunday with a couple of passing clouds. I think in general, a mixture of clouds and sunshine with temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s coming up on your day Sunday. And we start the process of staying plenty warm heading into early portions of next week. It sets the stage for the big, broad storm system. Keep in mind, you can't have temperatures that are running 10 to 15, 20 degrees above average for this time of the year without something to give. And it's, of course, the atmosphere is nothing but give and take. So it's giving us the warmer temperatures. It's about to take it back as we head towards the middle portion of next week by way of a storm system that will come out of the plain states, of course, bringing us chances for rain and storms. And not only storms, but maybe the risk for an isolated strong or severe thunderstorm to come along with it late Tuesday heading into Wednesday. If you're looking on social media, if you're doom scrolling on social media, you might find a couple of things that are comparing this system to a larger severe weather outbreak. We just don't know at this point, okay? There are ingredients that would lend itself to severe weather. Don't get me wrong there. There are also ingredients that work against severe weather, which will hopefully manifest itself into mitigating a severe weather threat across the board. But to say it now, it's a little early. We know that the pattern lends itself to the potential for severe weather, but you can have all the ingredients in the world, okay? You put that into a mixing bowl, try to mix all those ingredients together, but if you are trying to make a cake and you haven't turned on the oven, it's just not going to work, right? You're not going to end up with a cake, right? So you just have a bowl of ingredients. Let's hope that that's how it plays out. But again, could we have some of those ingredients get into that oven that we finally have preheated and things have started to warm up? Yeah, it's a possibility. So at this point, nothing that you need to be worried about, but something that you should keep in the back of your mind is a possibility as that line of showers and thunderstorms come sweeping through the area. Now, behind that system, we look to turn cooler. The question mark here is that as we turn cooler in the wake of this front, is the front going to be progressive, meaning it goes from west to east and moves off the coastline, it's out of here? Or does it hang up down the Gulf of Mexico? Remember, we got a pretty decent upper ridge that is trying to develop here that is going to have a hard time of breaking down, even with the cold front moving through the area. So that could have its own implications, because if the ridge holds firm, it's going to back that front back northward and bring us another wave of rain possibly through towards the end of next week. To be seen about that. I think that that's going to be something that we kind of will be changeable in the forecast, variable in the forecast as we head towards the back end of that 7-day and into the 10-day forecast. In the meantime, I can tell you with a surety that we're going to have a fantastic weekend across the area with temperatures that will top out today in the 60s, breezy, cooler breezes that will usher in temperatures down into the upper 50s to near 60 by Saturday, mostly sunny. A mixture of clouds and sun as the winds begin to pick up now out of the south and west. That's going to help to usher in warmer air, lower to middle 70s expected, with a chance for a few showers late in the day on Tuesday, and then leading Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when we have that risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. Again, possibility, not a certainty. And then the question mark is, how quickly does that move out of here? Will we have to tangle with it into Thursday with the resurgence of moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico? It does look cooler, don't get me wrong. And then beyond that, in the 10-day forecast, we do trend warmer again heading into the first portion of the month of March. But to be seen how that risk for rain and storms and the severe weather risk that does come along with it, how it will play out. Of course, we'll keep you updated over the next couple of days here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well as actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app.
Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. According to some brand new data released by SEMrush, over the last 2 years, there has been a huge surge in Americans wanting to turn their passion projects into paychecks, their side hustles into full-time money. And the data reveals that since January 2020, a 421% increase in searches for side hustles to make money. Now, we're about to talk to someone about this very issue, about how she turned her side hustle into a full-time job making 6 figures. Joining me now is Megan Overholt. And Megan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's Morgan, by the way, Morgan Overholt.
Morgan, I'm so sorry. I appreciate you joining
No problem.
us. So tell me about your story a little bit, because so many people, as you're right, so many people have decided, hey, what can I do as a side hustle to make full-time income?
Yeah, well, I was actually kind of the lucky one of the lucky ones, to be honest with you. I am no stranger to reinventing myself. Back in 2017, I actually quit my full-time job in the normal corporate world back before it was popular. Essentially rage quit, had all the fun I could stand, got to do something else. But back then, all I really knew to turn to was freelance. And that was a lot better than what I was doing. Do not get me wrong, but the problem is that freelance is still inherently flawed, because it still requires that your butt is in that seat every single day, and that you're like on the clock, and you have deadlines to meet, you've got clients you need to reply to all the time. And it wasn't quite giving me that freedom that I really craved. I had toyed before with the idea of launching something that could produce real live passive income in addition to my freelance before, but I never really took the leap until the pandemic hit. The pandemic, as a lot of y'all know, was inspiring for reinvention. So while I wasn't a stranger to it, I still was very new to the world, had no idea what I was doing, learned from the best, and here we are today. In fact, last year, our second full year in business, we surpassed 6 million page views on thesmokies.com, which is our travel blog website, and we produced over $200,000 worth of revenue. So it's pretty incredible.
That is incredible, and congratulations to you for doing all of that. I have to admit, I did those searches too, and I heard that blogging is one of those great opportunities out there for people to get started and really kind of turn it into a money-making career. How did you do it? If you had to look at some of the key factors of turning that blog into a six-figure income, how did you do it?
Well, honestly, again, I'm no stranger to figuring out how to reinvent myself and how to launch a successful company. And one of the key things, and I think this applies to every single industry and anything that you want to do in life really, is that you identify the person who's doing the thing that you really want to do, who's doing it successfully, I should add, and you learn what they're doing. And so what we did is we started joining all of these blogging communities online and really looking at people who were already making six-figure, even seven-figure incomes. And we asked, hey, what are you guys doing? And two words kept coming up for us. It was SEO and SEMrush. And at the time I was familiar with what SEO was. I thought it was just kind of like sprinkling in little keywords on your website and hoping for the best, hoping you'll rank on Google. But SEMrush was kind of the missing component, because I found out, news to me, that there are real tools you can use online that actually tell you exactly what people are looking for. It tells you what kinds of questions that people are typing into Google on a daily basis. And so our real key to success was figuring out exactly what those questions were and then answering those questions effectively. And the second that we started doing that, our traffic skyrocketed. It was incredible. I think on like month one, we went from having maybe a couple hundred hits to just a few months later, I think June of 2020, that same year, like I said, the pandemic year, I think we're about like 300,000, 400,000 hits. It was crazy. And it kept growing from there. So a pretty big deal. Pay attention to what other people are doing and do that thing.
That does sound amazing, and that's great stuff. When it comes to turning it, when you saw, okay, so you did the SEO, looking for what search items people are looking for. Did you have to write a lot? Because I've always heard that okay, if I'm going to start a blog, I just have to put tons of writing in. I mean, how many hours did you spend in the front end of this project?
Well, here's the really cool thing. So luckily, again, we were some of the lucky ones in the pandemic. We really only had about like a week or two that was kind of slow, which is really when I launched the website in partnership with my sister, Elena, and my husband, James. But after that, our freelance business really picked up, and we looked at each other and we're like, hey, look, we got to find time to also work on this website without losing our, at the time, primary income, which was the freelance income. And so we kind of just dedicated one day a week to knocking out as many articles as we possibly could. And we did it that way for an entire year, essentially. Almost an entire year, I didn't have a 2-day weekend. I mean, look, y'all, anything worth having in life is going to take a little bit of hard work. That's what I tell people all day long. Nothing in this life worth having is going to be that easily achievable. So I would say, as far as quantifiable hours were concerned, I would say we were each putting in about 8 to 10 hours a week to really get it going. And now, as it's been growing, we've been able to really integrate it into our normal work weeks. In fact, it's sort of even taken over a lot of the freelance that we were doing before. The script is kind of flipped now. Before we were doing like 25% blogging. Now it's more like 75% blogging and 25% freelance, which is pretty cool. But the great thing about what we've done is that it did exactly what I set out to do, right? Now, when I take a day off, I'm still making money. Now, when I go on a week vacation, I still get notifications every day that I'm making money. So that passive income, or more accurately, perhaps I should refer to it as semi-passive, because it still requires a lot of work to get it up and going. It's not a set it and forget it type thing, but it's still making me money, even if I step away. And that's really the freedom that I've craved from day one, right? That's the ultimate freedom. What more can you possibly ask for?
So you said 8 to 10 hours a week is generally how much you spent on the blog. When did you start seeing significant income jumps? I mean, did it start at you know, I don't know, 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000, and then just 1 month or two just jumped from there?
Yeah, like I said before, it was really identifying that correct tool to use. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what SEO is. Everybody will love to tell you they can get you on the first page of Google. It's just like some kind of magic thing. I thought I knew what SEO was as a freelance graphic designer because my clients asked for it all the time. I thought it was just sprinkling in keywords, but the key was using those 8 to 10 hours that I was talking about earlier effectively, right? Because at one point when we first launched, we were just kind of taking a guess. Like, I always thought the way that you were supposed to do it, or was the way that you were supposed to do it. But after we really started finding the correct tools, and for us, it was SEMrush, and that's kind of one of the industry leading platforms out there if you guys want to look into it. But one of the things that we did was we actually started doing the research, and that showed us specifically what we should be writing. And that's when we really started to see things kind of skyrocket from there, right? So instead of just using those 8 to 10 hours every week that we had to take guesses at what people may or may not like, what Google may or may not like, we were able to really hone in and make sure that this is what people were looking for, make sure this is what people would like, because it turns out the data was really there all along. So for us, it was learning to use that time efficiently and intelligently and making database decisions versus just what we wanted to write about. And that's really when we started to see the results skyrocket. And I would say within a couple of months of adopting that strategy, that's when we really saw things start to take off.
When you first did the blog, Morgan, was it something where you were getting income one way, and then now are you getting income another way? Give me some detail on how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the other funny thing. When we first launched, we had absolutely no idea how blogs made money. To tell you the truth, probably like most Americans, I thought blogs were something that we had back in the GeoCities days in the 90s or the early 2000s. I had no idea that they were still a thing that was capable of producing income. It was actually my husband, who was one of my partners on the blog, who discovered an ad network called AdThrive and Mediavine, or two different ad networks called AdThrive and Mediavine. It took a few weeks to get accepted into those programs. Today we started out with Mediavine, switched to AdThrive, but there's a variety out there. Those are just two of the top dogs essentially. But once we got there, we were able to really tap into this programmatic ad network, which produced this incredible revenue every single day. So when you go to our website, if you type in thesmokies.com, you're going to see that there's a ton of ads that pop up. And that's kind of what that programmatic ad network is providing us. That's where most of our income has come from. But there's also this wide world of affiliate sales, right? So for instance, we are a travel blog. There's a lot of attractions in the area near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, like Dollywood and Anakista, and a variety of museums like the Titanic Museum out there that have these programs that you can enter called affiliate programs, where you help them sell a ticket online by like writing a great review about them or saying, hey, look, I highly recommend doing X, Y, and Z in the Smokies. And if people click the link when you suggest to buy a ticket, you get a little tiny kickback. And so we did ads first, we did affiliate marketing second, and going forward, we're actually going to be doubling down on the affiliates, and we hope to release some digital downloads later this year. But there's a variety of different ways that bloggers make money. Those are just kind of a handful of the ones that worked for us very early on. And of course, there's so many more that I feel like we can tap into in the future. So I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes. I think we're just getting started.
That sounds great. I mean, congratulations once again. You're doing such a great job, Morgan. And I think this is helping a lot of people just kind of understand how it works. A couple more questions here. So how much do you make now? If you don't mind me asking, how much does the blog make now on a monthly basis? And then how much did it, initially start? Because you didn't start right away making six figures. It was a gradual increase. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I remember we made our first $6 within about a month of launching the actual blog site. And we were jumping up and down in the living room like it was the most important $6 we had ever made in our life. A couple months later, the first month, and that was an affiliate sale. A couple months later, the first month after we launched on an ad network, I believe our first month's earnings were something like $400 or $500, if memory serves correctly. Fast forward to today, I believe our largest month to date, and of course it varies as we are a seasonal travel blog. The Smokies are a little bit less trafficked in like January and February. We peak in the summer and into the winter, but our highest month so far has been around $36,000 in that month. So yeah, that kind of shows you what's possible. And we suspect we're going to be hitting closer to $50,000, maybe even $60,000 by this December. So yeah, like I said, we're just getting started.
Wow.
To go from zero hits in the first month, essentially, to, I believe in our first full year, we passed almost hit 2 million. And then in our second full year to pass 6 million. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping that we'll start to see that 10 million digit roll in as far as page views are concerned, hopefully in 2022. We'll see. We'll at least get close.
And it's just focusing on the East Tennessee Smokies area, or are you venturing out from that?
Yes, sir. For the most part, of course, the Smokies, the Smokies and the Blue Ridge Mountains were all kind of intertwined, as you know, in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. So we sort of cover those areas a little bit. Every once in a while, we talk about Tennessee as a state, but our primary market, we've also done a few stories on Memphis, but our primary market is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and the surrounding areas, the attractions, etc. That was also a model that we had never really seen anybody else do before. So that was a bit of a gamble, to be perfectly honest with you. We didn't really know that a regional travel blog would work. All you ever hear about are, travel bloggers that go all over the world and explore. But to us, we kind of learned that regional travel was even better, even, I dare say, easier. I don't want to use that word. It's been a lot of hard work, but I dare say easier because we get to target this one area that we know and we love. I grew up in East Tennessee. My husband grew up in East Tennessee. My little sister obviously grew up in East Tennessee. So this is an area that we're intimately familiar with. This is an area that we spent our childhood in. I mean, y'all, if you could have told me when I was like 6 that one day I would make money going to Dollywood, I'd have been like, what? It's like, that's not even my dream, and I've essentially turned that dream into a reality. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool. All right. So are there other blogs that you look at and really kind of like or maybe take some ideas from? I mean, are there other ones that you kind of emulate maybe and kind of say, they really taught me a lot of things?
That's one of the tools I was talking about earlier when I talk about SEO. The tool that I mentioned earlier, SEMrush, will actually show you competitive data. And we certainly integrate that competitive data and fill in gaps that our competitors are not addressing, fill in questions that our competitors are not answering. In fact, our main competitors now are actually some of the city and locally run websites. And I believe it was last month, we even started surpassing some of those city run websites who have entire staffs. I think over 40, 50 people, I believe, for the top website working on those. So to bring in more traffic than even them, it's pretty impressive. But to be honest with you, if I were to give you a second giant piece of advice, which is applicable to both blogging and life, is to worry less about what your competitors are doing and worry more about what they're not doing, right? We never seek to copy anybody. I've never been a copycat of anybody. I want to know what people are, I want to know how they're finding success. I want to know the strategies and the tools that they're using and explore those on my own. But I think it's really important to be the red tree in the forest, to be the standout, to do something unusual. Because if you're just a copycat, all you're going to be is a cheap clone at the end of the day.
Very nice, very nice. There are a lot of people taking notes in this newsroom, just hearing you talk right now. And I'm sure when people watch this on in a taped interview later on our website, they're going to be wanting to share this as well. When someone is looking at starting a blog, I don't know, can you give like maybe the top 3 things that they need to do right off the bat when they want to start and say, I want to do just what Morgan is doing? A lot of people like to say, write what you know. Is that one of those things? Did you always like to travel?
Oh yeah, I've always loved to travel, but to me, it's a little bit, there's two different components to it. A lot of people say follow your passion. And I say that's great. Follow your passion, but make sure you can make money with that passion, right? We've got a lot of passion. There's several hobbies I have that I'm not very good at, right? I don't think I should probably start a blog on those. I love watching Netflix for a living, there's probably a way to make money doing that, but the thing is that we found a part of our passion. We found one of our passion projects that we knew there was a big audience for. And so that's the piece of advice I would give you there as far as following your passion. Follow your passion, but make sure it makes money. As far as the three pieces of advice I would give to brand new bloggers would be as follows. Don't get lost in the details. Launch a simple website. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing you've ever seen. Just make sure it's a simple theme. Make sure it's fast. That's what's more important because people want to make sure it's loading really quickly without any kind of delays. The second thing I would say is, yes, get comfortable with writing and get comfortable using those tools that I talked about, because that was the real difference maker for us. Before, we were just sort of, when we first launched, writing whatever we thought we should write about because we had no data to go on, formatting it however we wanted to format it because we didn't know any better. So research those tools that will really give you those guidelines to show you exactly how to write, will actually give you a score on your writing and predict with almost 90% certainty exactly where you're going to rank on Google, which is pretty awesome. And then 3, make sure you turn that traffic into dollars. That's of course what you got to do at the end of the day. So research those ad networks that I mentioned earlier, research those affiliate programs, can think about what kind of digital downloads that you can sell. Those are 3 of the most popular ways. Courses, if you're doing something more on the business side, those are also very popular right now, online courses. So yeah, those are probably the 3 things that I would recommend. Don't get lost in the details, build a simple website, learn how to write articles that Google will love and that your readers will love, and then figure out how to make the money, honey.
Sorry, Morgan. Listen, I really appreciate everything you've said. It's a great conversation. I found it very interesting. Congratulations on your success. And I really think a lot of your tips have really helped other would-be bloggers out there. So appreciate the conversation very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. I appreciate it.
We've been talking a lot about the American Red Cross reporting of this emergency blood shortage and calling on all kinds of people, especially healthy individuals, to roll up their sleeves and donate blood in the new year to help prevent delays in medical care for so many hospital patients. I'm joined now by Dr. Eric Gary. He is Executive Physician Director at the American Red Cross. Dr. Gary, thank you for joining us. How bad is the blood supply right now at the American Red Cross? Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. Right now, we have a real emergency situation, especially with regards to red blood cells from people who are type O, so O positive or O negative, and platelets from people of any blood type. And that's because the need for transfusions has been very high, but donations are not keeping up with that need.
You mentioned, and we understand because we've been doing stories about this, Doctor, that the blood level is some of the lowest that we've seen and your organization has seen in some 20 years. What is the cause behind this drop in the blood shortage?
Well, there's quite a few causes to it. One of the ones that's most important has to do with the way that people donate blood. And COVID changed, everything about the way that we live our lives, but it also changed the way that we donate blood. We like to say that blood donation is the ultimate in-person activity. And a lot of people who were used to being in person, for example, at work, and used to donating blood at blood drives that were held at work, all of a sudden lost their ability to connect with us because of changes to the workplace. And as a result of that, we estimate that we have 300,000 fewer blood donors today than we did before COVID. On top of that, the recent winter storms have led to the cancellation of hundreds of blood drives and have prevented the collection of thousands of units. And so everything is really coming together now to create this emergency.
As a doctor, can you tell us how this blood shortage really impacts hospitals, medical care, patients out there?
Yeah, previously having been based in hospitals, one of the things about hospitals is that they never know what's going to come in next. It might be a quiet day, or there might be an accident with injuries, or a blood transfusion needed for a new mom who had bleeding after childbirth, or a newborn baby who needs a transfusion. And so hospitals need a full blood bank to be completely ready for all of those scenarios. When there's a shortage like this, it causes hospitals to have to make really tough choices. And those choices truly impact patients, and they impact healthcare, and they may lead to people being asked to reschedule a surgery that they were anticipating, or having to come back a different day to cancer clinic for a blood transfusion that they need. And so the impact on patients is very real, and donors truly do save lives by donating blood.
We know it's super easy. What's the best way? We have thousands of people that watch us on the digital desk. What's the best way people can help and donate right now?
I really hope people would go to redcrossblood.org. At that website, at redcrossblood.org, you can read all about the donation process. If you're a new donor, if you've had questions, or even if you've donated before and you have questions, there's a lot of information there. And you can type in your address or zip code and actually find blood drives in your area and then register for them right there on the website. So going to redcrossblood.org is the best way to step forward and save a life.
Dr. Eric Gary, Executive Physician Director at the American Red Cross, we appreciate your time. Thanks so very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
And that does it for us here in the Action News 5 digital desk. You're looking live at our High Five camera in Midtown Memphis. A balmy 58 degrees as you get going on your Friday morning. We have Action News 5's midday coming up at the top of the hour. Ariana Poindexter will take you through that next hour. And then you can enjoy the sunshine outside across the Mid-South, not only today, but the rest of the weekend. Then we'll be back here once again bright and early. 7 o'clock is when we start up the digital desk. We go to 11 o'clock each and every weekday morning. It's our streaming site on actionnews5.com, on all of our digital platforms, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and Roku. And then if you just want to watch on TV, you can do that as well. The Action News 5 Plus channel, that's digital channel 5.5. And if you're an Xfinity customer, you can watch us on channel 907. Have a great weekend.